Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on the time you are and where you are in the country. I want to welcome you to today's webinar, Sail Through the Standards SBAC. I'm excited to be here today with you and I want to thank you for spending this next half hour with us and joining us live. And thank you to everyone who's watching this on YouTube, where we're going to be sharing it out later. Please bring your attention to the poll, and if you haven't yet filled it out, please go ahead and fill that out. We want to get an idea of who's in the audience so we can make sure to cater this webinar to you. With a quick look at the poll, it looks like we have a lot of teachers and some school and district leaders. We have a whole variety of people who have used Edulastic for a while now, who are brand new. That's awesome to see. And it looks like, according to the poll, people are feeling a little bit prepared, mostly ready. Hopefully we'll get those of you who are feeling a little bit prepared, a lot more prepared with some of these resources. And one person says they are not at all ready, so let's fix that. And then the last question is trying to get an idea of what you're looking for. So it looks like a lot of people are looking for practice items for students. This will be a great webinar for you. Good to see you here. A whole variety of things. Oh, and we have inspiration on there twice, so maybe some people are looking for double the inspiration. My bad. If you have something else to share in terms of what you're looking for out of this webinar today, or just SBAC preparation in general, I encourage you to share that in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so here's today's plan. We're going to start out with an Edulastic overview. We're going to have a quick SBAC overview. Then we're going to go on to our feature presentation by Dina Morazin, who's going to be joining us for that. And then questions and discussion. My name is Ileana Betancourt. It's my job here at Edulastic to help you and other teachers around the country access the great resources we have available at Edulastic. I'm joined by Jan Moody, who is on the marketing team with me. And then we have a couple other members of the Edulastic team, Jenny and Bill, who will be available on the chat to answer any of your questions. All right, and then why don't we go ahead and exercise our use of the chat. I'd like to have people go down to that blue tab where it says who you're sending the message to. Set that to panelists and attendees. We want to encourage everyone to be able to share and discuss or ask questions in the chat. And then go ahead and enter where you're tuning in from and maybe one thing that you're looking forward to this spring. Or just enter where you're chiming in from. Okay, California. Awesome. Lots of California. Oh, Oregon. Montana. Awesome. Welcome. Lots of California. We're here in the Fremont office with Edulastic today. Great. I just lost the chat. Do you have it up still, Jan? Mm-hmm. Let me try and find it. Oh wait, it's just hiding behind the poll. There it is. Oh, Connecticut, awesome. Wisconsin, fantastic. Cool, we have people coming from all over. And just remember to change the all panelists to panelists and attendees so everyone can see your responses. Great, the other thing I wanna bring your attention to aside from the chat is the Q&A box. So along that black menu bar, there's a little tab that says Q&A. If you have questions, please put them there. We're gonna either try and answer them verbally or one of us here at Edulastic will respond to it in the Q&A box. If you type in the Q&A box, it prevents your questions from getting lost. So that's the benefit there. Otherwise, feel free to chat and share in the link there. Oh, and if you have any additional thoughts or ideas, again, please share them in the chat. We do hope to get all your questions answered and hope to provide you with the information that you were hoping to get out of this. So please interact with us. To give you a bit of overview of Edulastic, since it sounds like we have people with all sorts of experiences, Edulastic has over 30 question types, including drag and drop, passage-based questions, expression evaluator, which are all question types that are seen on state assessments such as the SBAC. There are over 35,000 items in the Edulastic certified item bank. And there are over 30,000 publicly available assessments to work from. So there's a lot of content already in there. And you can also create your own content or tweak content that's in there to suit the needs of your students in your classroom, which is really great. Each of the questions are tied to a standard, and that allows you to easily track where students are at and identify which standards students are struggling with, so you can work further with them to help improve how they're doing. And then mastery reports. So there are student mastery reports and standards reports that allow you to also get an idea of where students are at and where more support is needed. And then finally, Edulastic mimics the look and the feel of the SBAC, which I'll show you in a moment what that looks like. That's a huge thing because in terms of building student confidence, when they get to the SBAC after practicing on a digital assessment platform like Edulastic, they will feel confident walking on test day and they won't be confused or unsure how to use the platform. For those of you who are brand new to Edulastic, we're not going to be going over the basics of Edulastic. If you want to review the basics, I encourage you to check out Edulastic 101. Jan, maybe you can throw that link in there so people can bookmark that for later. That's a great overview of everything that Edulastic has to offer in the free teacher accounts, and I highly recommend checking it out. All right. So what is SBAC? I'm going to do a quick overview. Most of you probably already know what it is, but it's the result of state education agency staff, teachers, higher education faculty, and other educators working together to create a best of the best assessment system with the ultimate goal of increasing the number of students who are well prepared for college and careers. That was taken straight from their website, smarterbalance.org. You can get more information there. SBAC stands for Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium, and the consortium members include states such as California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Idaho, Indiana, Michigan, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, South Dakota, Vermont, and Washington. And it seems like we have lots of people online today tuning in from those states, and it covers English and math grades 3 to 8 and high school. Here's an example of what a Smarter Balanced SBAC passage-based question type looks like. So this is something that students might see if they're taking the ELA assessment on SBAC. And I wanted to show you what that looks like on Edulastic. So here's what it looks like. As you can see, it's a similar setup with the passage on the left side and the multiple choice question on the right side. Go back and forth there. An example of a math question in SBAC looks like this, where students can read the question and then they enter in their response. And they have all these options to provide different expressions and numbers. That's what it looks like on SBAC. This is what it looks like on Edulastic. And here the students can even show their work if you'd like them to do that. Please share any thoughts in the chat. And then I just wanted to show you, you can access SBAC practice tests and tips on our website. We have a blog post about it, which Jan will share the link to as well. You can preview and assign SBAC practice tests. You can learn about some of the top 5 skills for SBAC practice success. And if you're new to Edulastic, what you do to access SBAC tools is you log in here. I already have this open. So it takes you to your dashboard. You go to, looks like people wanted access to items. So let's go to the question bank actually, and I'll show you how to find those items. So you want to choose Edulastic Certified and enter SBAC here. And so it looks like we have a lot of questions to choose from that are from SBAC released items. And from there, you can add questions to an assessment and give it to your students. Or you can go to the library, assessment library. You can filter by a standard set. So collection, so right now I have that set to Edulastic Certified. And then I'm entering SBAC up here in the filter. Oh, I need to add the collection again. And here are SBAC assessments that I can choose from. So we have ELA, mathematics, different grades. All right, and anyone who has a free Edulastic teacher account can access this. All right, and now I'm going to introduce you to our featured presenter for this webinar. So this is Dina Morazine, and she's been teaching elementary school for 20 years in 3 different districts in Oregon. She is the technology leader for her district and also the testing coordinator for her school. She's both the Donors Choose Ambassador and part of the Edulastic Innovator team. She's been on the team, I think, for about 3 or 4 years now. So we're really excited to have her join us. She's presented on several other Edulastic webinars before, and we're lucky to have her on today. So Dina, I encourage you, or welcome you to turn on your screen and take it away.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dina Morazine, and as was introduced, I've been teaching elementary school for 20 years now. And Eliana, if you want to go ahead and go to the first slide. Okay, so again, just kind of the same information. I've been teaching for 20 years. I worked in 3 different school districts across Oregon, and in each district have gained a different set of information and knowledge. When I worked in Oakland, Oregon, it's one of the smallest school districts in Oregon. It's actually school district number 1. And now I'm currently teaching in Klamath County School District, which is the 4th largest district in Oregon in square miles. So I just have a lot of different experience with different school districts. My only 3 kids are English Mastiffs, and I have a little picture of them there. And I love being part of the Edulastic Innovator team. And I spend a lot of my time also working as an ambassador for Donors Choose. So that's just a little background about me. So let's go ahead and flip to the next slide. So my past experiences in trying to prepare the students for Smarter Balance were not very successful. We were required to do district mandated assessments, things like STAR and DIBBLE or teacher or district created exit tickets. And our team found that these assessments really didn't give us enough information on Common Core standards or gave us none at all on standards. They might, again, with DIBBLEs, you know, we're doing an oral reading fluency, which isn't even a standard. So we just found that those assessments weren't giving us the information that we needed to help our students be successful. So I was introduced to Edulastic about 6 years ago, and I was just blown away by the data and the information that Edulastic provides for me to help my students. And so over the last 6 years, I've been using Edulastic in both, well, in science and in reading and in math. And I really feel like it has done a huge, huge improvement for my students and helping them prepare for Smarter Balance. We at our school have recently stole the Edulastic's motto of rock the test. And last year we created the little badges you see down below for our students. But again, it's just such a motivation from Edulastic in helping our students get ready for that test. So flip to the next slide. So we have a group of teachers that use Edulastic throughout the year. And again, we assess the skills in math and language arts. I am not teaching a lot of science this year. The Smarter Balance science test is for 5th grade, and I'm currently teaching 4th grade. So we use Edulastic for our exit tickets. We're not quite at the spot where we're using them daily, but we do use them weekly to assess the standards that our students are learning that week and to see where they're progressing on those standards. We also use them for our mid-unit assessments and our end-of-unit assessments. And we use them for our benchmark assessments 3 times a year. So the report that I'm showing down at the bottom of the screen there is one of the benchmark assessments. And I actually think it was one of the assessments that Ileana just showed on the screen. That's one of the Smarter Balance assessments. And so that we give that same assessment 3 times a year. So you can see the progress that the students are making over the year on it. And again, this is an overall data. So that at the beginning of the year, my students scored 35% as a class, in the mid-year 59%, and at the end of the year, the 73%. So we actually use these benchmark scores for our student learning objectives for our teacher goals. So again, this isn't specific standards, but we'll get to that where we're looking at actual specific standards. So I just wanted to show, again, we use this data for student goals in our student learning objectives. And let's go to the next slide. So some of the data that Edulastic provides, it gives us the opportunity to look at our entire class. So this is the same report. This is called the question analysis. And so as you're looking at the question and analysis report here, this is for my whole class. So over on the left side of the screen, you can see question 11, 0% of my students were able to answer correctly. And if you look right down below that, it shows question 11 and it shows the standard that's connected to that question. So that standard is RL 4.3. So again, the first 5 or 6 questions, I can really see that my students need to be retaught. They need more experience with those questions. And again, if you look at the right above the pink bar down there, that it shows exactly which standard those questions are tied to. So within those 6 questions, RL 4.3 comes up twice and RL 4.2 comes up twice. So I know those are definitely standards that I need to reteach or standards that I need to focus on with my entire class. And so this classroom data is super important because I can do that with my homeroom class during our core reading time. I know that it's things that we need to focus on. I'm showing you all the bad things about my class. So way over on the right side, which you can't see, they actually were successful on some of the standards. So let's go ahead and skip to the next slide. So not only can I look at that classroom data so I know what I need to reteach to my whole class, but Edulastic also allows me to look at individual student data. So as you go straight across those bars, that's individual student data. So looking at individual student data helps me be able to place my student into intervention groups or into the higher level groups. And within those groups, then it tells us what standards we need to work on within those groups. So this might be the student that, let's see, one of the students has like 7 of the answers wrong there. So they're probably going to be in my low intervention group. But then I can at least go to that teacher and say, this student has to work on, these 6 standards, and we can look at the data individually so that it can help us prepare our intervention groups also. So 2 different types of data, the class data I get to use in my classroom and the individual student data we can use with our intervention groups. And I can really focus on the standards that those kids in the intervention groups need, not just that, oh, they're reading at the 2nd grade level. Knowing that they read at the 2nd grade level, which is what our district benchmarks used to tell us, doesn't tell me how to help them be more successful on the Smarter Balance test. So these reports really help me guide my instruction and help me focus on how to get those kids where they need to be for the Smarter Balance test. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So this is another report that I have access to within Edulastic, and this is actually called a report card. It's a student report card. So up at the top of the screen, it shows for this specific student, and this is on a math test, that the top, about 10 questions that this student has mastery on, and it's tied to the standard on the left side. And the bottom 2 groups, the NB, TB6 and the OA3, that the student exceeds mastery on. And the bottom one is only 1 question. So again, that's not really enough data for me to say that that student exceeded mastery on. So I would look at another assessment to make sure that that student has exceeded mastery on that standard. But the standard above that has 5 out of 5 that they got correct. So I would feel pretty confident in saying that that student has mastered that standard. Underneath of it shows the top of actually the report card. So it shows that the student scored 13 out of 15 for 87%. But right underneath on the left side, it also shows, this student is proficient. So again, I can form my intervention groups by just looking at this data. Edulastic will, after it scores the test for me, which is another huge thing, it scores the test for me, it actually puts the students into intervention groups. So it'll say, proficient, below proficiency, above proficiency. So that really helps me form my intervention groups and know which students need to be where. And again, though, I can look at specific standards that those students need help with and that I really know that I need to reteach. And again, I can look at the standards that all my students have mastered and know, okay, we can finally move on. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. This is the middle part of that same student report card. So again, it's not just that the Edulastic grades it for me, but it also will show me possible errors and what errors they're making. So it shows on the left column, the student's answer, and then right next to that, the correct answer. So like on number 2, I could look, okay, he somehow got the ones column wrong. And again, a lot of times I'll have my kids do scratch paperwork so I could assess on their scratch paper why they got it wrong. But I can also do some sort of error analysis when I'm looking at these to see what mistakes they're making. And I think let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So a lot of programs will help you assess your students in standards. And as a teacher, I can usually walk around the room and grade the exit ticket and know, okay, the student gets this, the student doesn't get it. But one of the things that Edulastic does that Ileana was also talking about a little bit is that it also gives you reports on the question types. And so again, as part of Smarter Balance, it's technology based, and they're going to run across a ton of different types of questions that are not just multiple choice. So our kids know how to answer multiple choice questions. We know that. So this report that's on the screen right now is called a response frequency. And so it's telling me how proficient my students are on the different technology type questions. So the first column with the 87% is a matching type question. So my kids are pretty good at matching questions. And then we have multiple choice, which again, I know mostly my kids are good at multiple choice questions. The third one, it's again saying 30%. And I found across 3 different tests that my students had done that they do not know how to answer multi-part questions. And that is a big part of Smarter Balance. And so I really went in, and it doesn't really matter what the content is, but I need to teach my students that technology skill. I need to teach them. And I think for my students, what they were doing, you know, they see part A and they answer the question, and then they just go on to the next question. And it doesn't register with them, oh, there's a part B to this question. And I know on Smarter Balance, it won't let them go on, but I still know that I need to teach them that there's a second part to this question. And again, I saw this across 3 different tests that my students did not know how to answer multi-part questions. And so again, having this information about what my kids can do with technology and what they can't do is huge. And then I think there's one more slide that goes with the technology-based questions. So again, this was another test. And again, as you can see, the multi-part questions was a little bit better. The matching tables, though, was really low on this one. And I think this one was a math one, and I'm pretty sure the previous one was a language arts one. But when they had to do a matching table across the computer screen, they didn't know it. And when I looked at the overall results of this quiz, it was actually one of our division quizzes that we recently had done. I knew my kids knew the math, and they got really great scores on this test, but everybody missed this one question. And so I went in to look at it, and they truly, truly just got the technology piece of the question wrong. They know the math, they know how to do it. It was really the technology question that threw them off, and marked that is the reason they got the question wrong. So with Edulastic, we have the balance of both things, that we get to have support and learn what standards our kids need, but we also can learn and see what pieces of technology that they're missing. And again, Smarter Balance has all of these question types in it. And that's one of the things that I love the most about Edulastic. And like I said, when I found it, I was like, this is what we need to help our kids be successful on Smarter Balance, because it mimics Smarter Balance. It's exactly the same questions that they're going to see when they take the Smarter Balance test. So having this information on the technology was a game changer. And when I'm creating my own tests, I can go in and pick the question types. So I can go in and make sure when I'm creating my own quiz that it has, we might only need 2 or 3 multiple choice, because again, they know how to do that. But I'm going to make sure I put a multi-part question in it, and I'm going to be sure I put a matching in it, so that they have practice with those different question types. I think there's one more slide, Alana. Oh, Nope, that was the last one. Okay, so I know that one of the participants said they wanted information about practice items, and I know you already went over that a little bit, but the practice items are huge. Again, being able to pick the standard, the specific standard that you want to assess on. One of my team teachers is on here. I know I saw her down there on the panel list. And she's done a fantastic job of being able to go in and find, okay, this is the standard we've been working on for the last 2 weeks, and creating a quiz to assess that standard. The practice item bank is huge and amazing. And so not only can, again, you can pick it by the standard, but you can also pick it by the technology type of question. We have been so successful implementing Edulastic and truly seeing a difference in our test scores because of the experience that our students are having on the computer. And again, not only just on the computer, but the fact that we get to assess what they need to know. So now we know that's what we need to teach. So, you know, we've become better teachers along with being able to prepare our students for the computer part of the test.
Awesome. Thank you, Dina. That was such a great overview of all the different features of, you know, how you can really measure how students are doing and make sure that you're there for them when they need more support on certain question types like you showed, and then also on those certain standards. So thank you so much. And I just put it in the chat, but if anyone has any questions for Dina, now is the time to add them to the chat. We're opening it up for discussion and questions. While those questions come in, I do want to quickly announce our swag giveaway. For this series, we're doing swag giveaways to a random person who attends live. Jan just picked a person with the random number generator, and the winner of the swag package for this webinar is Noreen Schubert. So Noreen, congratulations. We have your email address from your registration, and we'll reach out to you about how to send that to you. Casey Bird said, thanks, Dina, you're a rock star. Congratulations, Noreen, today is your day. So yeah, Jen will reach out to you with the swag. And then, okay, it looks like this question's for you, Dina.
Okay.
How long have you used the SBAC questions, and have they made a major difference?
I've been using Edulastic with the Smarter Balance type questions for 6 years now, and I really feel like it has made a difference in our test scores. I wish I had data to go back and look at, but I haven't kept track of our test scores for the last 6 years. I definitely can say that it has improved our test scores, though.
Awesome, great. Okay, and then I'm gonna, while people are still asking questions, adding their input, I do wanna quickly go over, since we have a few minutes left, and just let you know we have a teacher training hub with resources for you that will help provide you with tips and tricks for using Edulastic, as well as other pedagogical resources, so please check that out. We also have upcoming webinars if you have colleagues in other states. We just announced the swag package winner. Those are examples of what you may receive in your package. And also please stay in touch with us. We are going to send out a recording of this webinar on YouTube. And we appreciate your input on the webinar survey that you'll be directed to at the end of this webinar.